So I'm here with Åsa Persson at this very first Swedish climate assembly on Citizens Climate Assembly. And you are chair of Sweden's Climate Policy Council. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
So we are an independent expert council on to evaluate whether Swedish government policy is in line with the Swedish climate targets or not, and to give research-based recommendations as well.
So, and now you've been talking in front of, a citizens' assembly, which are not experts. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a really important initiative. It's very exciting to see what they will come up with, and very timely, because actually our council, the expert council, has recommended that we need to have more citizen dialogue, these types of meeting places to deliberate and discuss, and also hear concrete suggestions from citizens.
And how can expert councils such as yours collaborate with, the average Swedish citizens?
We have, I think, different mandates, but we will absolutely look at the outcomes of this council and read with interest the suggestions. And I think they are complementary, basically. We need to have the sort of more technical analysis and evaluation of policies, but we also need to hear what people think and feel about the climate transition.
There was quite a lot of engagement after your talk, and many questions. All of them couldn't be asked. So what are your thoughts on that engagement and where this is headed?
I think it's very positive. It shows that people want to know facts, and of course they have a lot of knowledge and ideas themselves. So people I think it shows that climate change and climate transition is on the top of people's minds. I hope we will have more time to discuss.
And in terms of implementation, do you think the Swedish government will listen?
I don't know. I can't answer for the Swedish government, but I think they do speak a lot about the need to ensure social acceptance in their latest climate action plan. So I think hopefully they are curious to see what this representative sample of Swedes think about climate change.
And in terms of wider policy implementation, everything doesn't have to go through the government, right? So how do you think one can work with this mandate to influence society at large?
Well, I think that's a question for the organizer of this citizen assembly, what they expect and hope for and plan for in terms of these, effects. People talking more about climate change and climate policy. But I think we are at that stage now in the climate transition where we have done a lot of planning, we have set targets, but this needs to happen at a society-wide level. Citizens need to be engaged, companies and government.
Have you, in your line of work, noticed any difference in terms of acceptance for a harsher climate policy or more, effective measures? These last couple of years, let's say? It's
a really great question. There's a lot of research actually ongoing now to understand better what is the social acceptance of policy, which policies are popular and less popular, and why. So there's a lot of knowledge to dig into. We know that people are very concerned about climate change. So we also talk about, what's the acceptance for not acting on climate change. That's also an important question. But I think a very important question in all of this is one of time perspective. What might be unpopular in the short term could be more popular in the long term. So I think there's a very important communication task here to talk to people about change in the short term, how it might affect us, but also what are the gains in the longer term and the necessary action to prevent dangerous climate change.
Any other policy recommendations from you and your group that goes in this direction in terms of engagement, citizen engagement, and so on? Do you have anything else you want to share?
We have made a recommendation in the past that we need more deliberation and engagement, and we will release our next annual report just in a couple of weeks, and you will probably find something on this theme there as well, because we do, again, see the need for this type of citizen engagement.
Thank you so much, Åsa Persson, Chair, Swedish Climate Policy Council.